What's going on, people? What's really good? It's your boy Marv, and this is the Nerds in the Hood. Folks, sorry I've been away for a little bit of time, but you know what it is. You know the vibes. Your boy had to do with summer vacation tings. And now I'm back at it. You know what I'm saying? Summer is actually coming to an end. This is like, while I'm recording this, is the last week of August, which to most people is usually the end of summer. Anyway, let's just get down to business though, because with the end of summer comes the end of summer movies. And one such summer movie I did just see. A little late to the party, but I'm now on the weapons bandwagon, ladies and gentlemen. Let's talk about it because it's another edition of the Movie Pass Movement. Yes, sir. If you're new to this, as I fix my mic here, you guys aren't aware that this is what I do. So the Movie Pass Movement is the fact that I have the AMC Rewards card. I'm a Stubs member, whatever you want to call it, the AMC Rewards Pass, right? What I do with this AMC Rewards Pass is that I go to AMC movies. I don't go every day, but for the price of one movie ticket, basically, I'm paying $25 a month. I can go to any AMC within most of the United States and see up to 4 movies a week at no extra charge. I can take advantage of that whenever I want, every day that they're open. So I went to see Weapons, as I've seen with a lot of these other movies already so far. Went on a little movie date with my lady. We did our thing. This is how I'm going to talk about the movie. Now, there has been a lot of talk about this being probably one of the best movies of the year, this being one of the best horror films of the year, just so many different things, right? That I'm going to save for another video because a lot of people have been comparing it to Sinners because Sinners came out and was already labeled best movie of the year, best movie of the decade, best horror movie of the year, best horror movie of the decade, and so many other accolades. So I just wanted to talk about that with Weapons. Now, if you don't know by now, Weapons is a movie about the disappearance of 17 small elementary school children that randomly got up out of their house in the middle of the night, ran down the street, and never came back to their houses for around about a month or so. One father was determined to look for his kid. One teacher was being blamed for the disappearance of the children, and so on and so forth. And this movie just basically tells you what happened to those kids. Were they still alive by the end of the film? What became of the person who actually kidnapped them? And so on and so forth. But they just told it through different points of view. So it's like one of those, like, you know, one of those movies. No, not even, yeah, movies do it too. But you know, like, you ever watch one of those TV shows where they tell like different stories from different characters' point of views, but they show how they all connect to one common thing, or like they all meet in the same section. It's kind of like that. Like, I don't know if you saw like that one Simpsons episode where they show like Lisa's day and Homer's day and Bart's day. They all kind of met at the same point. It's like something like that. You've seen it before. I don't even know what to kind of call those episodes, but you've seen it before. Tells different people's point of views and how they got to where they got to. So this was basically one of those kind of movies, which was interesting. I don't normally see that in horror movies. So that was definitely something very unique. But I will say that didn't make the movie any better, in my personal opinion. I just felt like there was things about the movie that I did have to laugh at that were unintentionally funny. For example, I thought it was crazy that, like, okay, so first off, my man Ben Wong, right? Is it Ben Wong? Ben Wong's his name? He was in this movie, right? For those of y'all who don't know who this man is, he's basically homeboy from Benedict Wong. So I was right, Benedict Wong, Ben Wong. So he's basically homeboy from Doctor Strange. He's Wong, right? And he played a guy named Marcus. Some of y'all may know him as Wong from Doctor Strange. I remember him as that one Asian dude from the original season of Top Boy that like pimp slapped this lady over like money and stuff. I thought it was pretty. I didn't expect him to do it. He like smacked fire out her. Anyway, that's another time. So He played the principal of the school that Julia Garner's character, Justine Gandy, worked at. And she kept trying to like get involved in the case of these children because she was trying to clear her name. Because at the end of the day, it was a bunch of children missing. There was 17 kids missing in a class of 18. And the one kid out of those 18 didn't get abducted. Nothing happened to him. He was good money. The rest of those kids were missing. So, what made it interesting was that his character and his partner, I didn't even know what his partner's name. His partner was just like there. It was him and his boyfriend, or I'm assuming his husband. And they was just sitting down. It was like, I just felt so bad by this scene. That's why I said it was like unintentionally funny, because there was a scene where like your man was sitting there with his man, with his boyfriend, his partner, and they was chilling. And he had like the greatest assortment of snacks I've ever seen in my life. I'm not even not even exaggerating. It was like chips. It was like potato chips. It looked like peanuts or something, like Doritos, um, glizzies, and carrots. They were all assorted on one tray. And your man's came out with all the food, and like Benedict Wong's character Marcus was like, "Oh yeah, let's get it." You know, like, he didn't see that. He was just like, "Yeah," like he was hyped because he's like, "Yo, this food's about to smack." And the bad guy of the movie pulled up to their crib and eventually like saw to their demise. But it was just like, why did we have to know that this man was eating this is eating glizzy? Do we have to know that he's eating glizzies? We didn't have to know that. He could have just been sitting in his house chilling with his boo. That's it. He didn't have to. We didn't have to see that part. That part was like unintentionally funny to me. There was more. For example, they told it from different point of views in this movie, right? So they told it from the one little kid's point of view who didn't get abducted in the class, right? They explained it. His story basically was the last story, and it brought it all home. They told the story, make sure my mic's good. They told the story from Justine's point of view. She was like the central character. They told the story from Archer's point of view. He was one of the fathers of one of the kids who got abducted. He was played by Josh Brolin, aka Thanos. They told the story from a cop's point of view named Paul, and they told the story from a junkie's point of view. This dude was a straight drug addict. He was the white Tyrone Biggums. And they told it from his point of view. I believe his name was James. Yo, this crackhead, I am not making this up, stole the freaking show. He was hilarious. Oh my gosh. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not seen Weapons or you plan on seeing it when it hits streaming services, be prepared for this man. He only in the movie for I mean, he's in most of the movies. Like, he has small parts in the beginning, and then they central it around his part. But his part was basically, I'm just gonna spoil this part for y'all. Like, real talk. Majority of this movie was about him going to get money for more drugs. that was I'm not making this up. His whole point of view was that he was trying to get money from the start, where he meets Justine at like she was at a liquor store, I believe. Yeah, she was at a liquor store, and he was in front of the liquor store. He was like, "Yo, can I get some money for a bus ride home? Try and go home, see my family." She was like, "Nah, I'm good." And he was like, "All right, cool." She walks back out of the store. He asks her the same question. This is how you knew he was an elite drug addict. You want to know how you knew he was an elite crackhead? I'm gonna tell y'all right now. I'm from New York. Most crackheads will ask you that question one time, and when you say no, they're not going to ask you again when you walk back out. Majority of the time, they will not. You know why? Because they already know in their mind you ain't got no damn money. And you ain't going to give them the money if you had it. So once they ask you once and they get that no, you ain't getting another question from them again. "Hey, man, can I borrow a couple dollars? I can go inside here." No. All right, cool. If you walk back out, they're going to look at you and go, "No, he said no like 2 minutes ago." "Hey, sir." That's it. You know what I mean? Like, so he was so determined for money. He asked Justine for the bread. She walked out. He asked for bread again. That's what I'm trying to say. My man tried to break into a building to get some stuff to steal. He was pulling on car doors to try to snag more stuff out of the car so he could sell it at a pawn shop for, guess what? More drugs. And he comes across a $50,000 reward for the appearance or whereabouts of the children missing in the class. And my man was like, cha-ching, oh my God, if I can recognize where I found these children. And he did. He stumbles upon where these children are actually at. So spoilers ahead, but he finds out that the children are in the classroom of not the classroom. I'm so sorry. The children are in the house of the one kid who actually was not missing. It's a whole other story with that. But he finds them because he goes into their house. He goes into that little kid's house and robs them. I'm not making this up. This drug addict, this crackhead walks into the crib, looks around. Crib is boarded up with newspaper clippings on the wall. The door opens up quietly. He gets all like, huh? And walks in anyway. And just, no, he snuck in through upstairs. I'm bugging. It was raining and he snuck in through the upstairs. And then when he got upstairs, he thought he was good money. He was like, ain't nobody here. All right, cool. So he starts like stealing mad stuff, forks, knives, all that, spoons, everything he could find. And your man stumbles upon two of the parents who we later find out was being possessed. And he's just like, oh, my fault, y'all, my fault. And when he sees that these people can't move or do nothing, he was like, all right, cool. And goes back to robbing them. Yo, James might have been one of my favorite movie characters of 2025. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I don't care if it's a side character, a main character, a damn extra. He is one of my favorite movie characters of 2025 because I've seen a lot of horror movies. I haven't seen every, but I've seen a good amount. I've seen ones where they do have people who love drugs, but mostly it's like weed and stuff like that. You don't get a lot of people like baseheads and junkies and stuff like that. So it's a rarity to see a junkie not only be in a horror movie, but not be afraid of the horror that is in front of him. The only reason he was afraid was because the cop who kept like basically just harassing him was on a war path to see that this man got punished. So when the cop also got possessed, he was afraid because the cop came at his door, came at like the door full force. He was locked in the cop car and he came to the cop door full force. And they already had a prior altercation. So anybody in that situation would have been like, oh, snap, yo, he about to come for me, man, it's over. So I got that. But when there was actual noises being made in the house, my son was like, that's crazy. That's crazy. What's going on here? He ain't run out the house. He ain't dropped the stuff. He ain't go upstairs to investigate. He kept robbing the house. One of the greatest movie characters of 2025. I don't care what nobody say. Yes, there's some people in Sinners that I love, like Smoke and Stack and stuff. But yo, my man right here, amazing. And there's more funny parts to go, but that is one of my funniest. But I'm not gonna sit here and say every funny part of the movie. But what I will say is that the movie was very interesting. It was intriguing. It was a unique take on point of view type of stories. And apparently, from what I read, it was supposed to be a subliminal message involving like school shootings and other tragedies like addiction and stuff because Justine Gandy was like a low-key alcoholic. And I don't know if she became one because of the stress of what was going on in her life or she was already one. Paul, who she hooked up with, which I would say was her vice, was his vice. He was a recovering alcoholic and he ended up relapsing because of her. He was so just with like, yo, I could hook up with this chick. Now, he also just was weak-willed because he had a girl anyway. But he was annoyed by his girl because his girl just so happened to be like his boss's daughter. And then now he's like, damn. So now his girl was away. He was like, all right, we Gucci. Yo, homie goes to Justine's crib and hooks up with her and then comes back like, because he thought his girl was away for work. She came back early, like, yo, what you do? And my man was like, damn. So, which also reminds me, there's a part y'all gonna see in there where his girl actually goes ham on Justine, pulls up on Justine, starts pouring liquor on her, and is like, you the reason he drank, look what you did. And we never really got like another resolution. I'm guessing the resolution was like she just came in there, stood 10 toes down and told her like, yo, you messed up a happy home and just bounced. I guess I don't. I guess that was part of the message of like addiction. Yeah, we're gonna go with that. So you had that. We already had my favorite character who's a drug addict, uh, and so much more. And then we throw in like I'm guessing witchcraft. So it was a lot of messages that were thrown in there, which was like cool. I get it, but it was also just like we could have just told a story about witchcraft, and I think we would have been okay. A lot of people I read online were like really confused about the fact that like Archer, one of the characters, saw he had a dream where he looked up in the sky and he saw a AK-47 and it had the numbers 2, 1, and 7 on it, right? Some of the answers I saw in there made sense. The one that made the most sense to me was the fact that it was to say that the bad guy, who I'm assuming was a witch, like you could safely say she was a witch. The bad guy, she abducted 2 adults and 17 children because there were 17 kids in a class, and there were 2 adults, which was Alex's parents, and that's 2 adults and 17 children. So she had that was her ammunition, um, so to speak. So there's a lot of crazy mixed messages, but not in a bad way. I just think that in terms of horror, this is one of the best horror movies of 2025. Now, if there's another horror movie that comes out, we still got a few more months left. We'll cross that bridge again. But I feel like right now, this one has it. It takes the cake. The casting was good. The horror was all right. I think it was just that it was a slow burn. And once that slow burn turned into what it was supposed to turn into, it got better. I know that's how horror movies usually are. They kind of like supposed to take you on that roller coaster ride of fear where you start off like, oh, and then you're like, oh, okay. And then you're like, oh. So I get it. But sometimes I feel like I need more fear. Like I need to get there faster. Same thing with an action movie. If you're an action movie, don't start over action and then bore me and then get back to the action. I need that action to be moving. Like there's certain exceptions, like a John Wick, but then there's some exceptions that aren't there. So I feel like with this movie, I needed more of that. I feel like I needed the point of views were cool and they were freaky, but I feel like I needed more. That's just where I stand. I think the story was good enough, but it just left me wanting more. And that means it kind of did its job, but I'm not going to say this was a perfect movie. Some people are like, it was the best movie ever. And I don't think it was all of that. I just think that it was good enough and the vibes were there. Like a quick vibe check to let y'all know this movie is valid. It's valid. I just feel like the way people were hyping it up compared to like, you know, people were really mad because Sinners got hyped up, right? And Sinners delivered. It was a good movie with an original story, but I think in this case, with Weapons, it's still an original story. It still was cool. If people are still asking for sequels, there's a rumor that there's a prequel coming. It's the same thing as Sinners, but I don't think that's happening. I think this is just a central story that was a one-time thing, and that's it. So I just feel like with this movie, like we could have, I don't know, I feel like we could have explored the whole like weapons thing and the possession thing. I felt like we could have did a little more. I'm not saying I had to take up majority of the movie. I'm just saying that there were stories that we didn't really need to get to. I didn't think we needed the junkie storyline. As funny as it was, I didn't think we needed it. The cop storyline, kind of, sort of, but I still don't think we needed it. Archer's story made sense. Marcus' story ended up becoming understandable. Julie's story made the most sense, and Alex's story brought us home. There was 2 stories we didn't really need. And then at the end of it all, the creator of this whole movie, the writer slash director, which was, let me get his name, Zach Krieger, he even said that he had an idea for an alternate ending where it would have been that Justine and Alex find out how to do the possession and the witchcraft spell, and they would have created their own army that would have fought the evil villain's army, and then that's it. If that would happen, I would have been like, this movie sucks. So I'm glad he didn't do it that way. But I just felt like I left the theater feeling like this was cool, this was good, but I felt like I wanted more. I don't know. I just feel like more fear or something. Horror movies, they haven't really scared me as much. So it would be cool to get something like that. Maybe it's because I'm older and I've seen enough. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna stop it there. But I am gonna say, if you haven't seen it yet, it's still in theaters. Labor Day weekend's coming up. Go catch it, or wait for it to streaming. If you ain't trying to spend that bread, you ain't got that AMC stubs like your boy. But yeah, check it out. Weapons is cool, and I'm gonna make a video that's gonna, for me, just express which movie was better, Sinners or Weapons. All right. So anyway, follow me on all social media using my link tree in the description below. And I'll catch you next time on another edition of the AMC Movie Pass Movement, courtesy of the nerds in the hood. Peace. Weapons.